Calgary, oh my gosh. Calgary is so cold. I just want to take a moment to pay homage to the people who live in Calgary, Canada. A friend of mine was landing in Calgary and sent me a picture from the airplane with the snow. It's great. And by the way, if you notice, I'm a little bit congested today because I was in Canada. I just came last night and I was in Vancouver. Just personal reason, my daughter had some friends playing games there and I went with her. And I made a mistake to take a hot shower. I used to, when I take a hot shower at the end for 1 full minute, I go under cold water. Well, what I didn't realize, I forgot for a second, that it's freezing outside. And when you're under the shower, you go to cold. It's not like California or Puerto Rico or Florida. You go cold, it is freezing cold. And I like to go 1 full minute. So it's good I didn't have a heart attack. I'm here, I'm good. But I got sick a little bit. Nothing serious, it's just the nose is running. By the way, there are 3 things you can do to have your heart work very well and live a good life. Number 1 is at the end of each shower, you go under the cold water for a minute, so long as it's not freezing cold like the one I had. Number 2 is at least 3 times a week, you run a little bit, and then you run for 30 seconds as if you're running for your life. And if there is a bear behind you, okay? You do it 2-3 times. 3 times a week. So each one, 2-3 times, 3 times a week. And the third one is you do some fasting, let's say periodically. So you eat the dinner at 8 p.m. and then the next morning you don't eat till, let's say, 10 a.m. for breakfast. So you have at least 12 to 14 hours difference. Believe me, those 3 things, the fasting, the running, and the cold shower will keep you in very good shape. Okay, so Calgary, Canada. Do you invest in Canada? Yes, Actually, I was amazed. I was in Victoria, everything is sold out. There is no car rentals. The hotels are sold out. I go to Vancouver, the ferry is sold out. The car rental is sold out. The restaurants are sold out. And I started looking, the opportunities are unbelievable. Every person I talked to said, well, since COVID, nothing has been happening here. And I'm like, the money is bursting. I mean, it's just craziness. But there is a problem in Canada. The US disposable income is roughly 10% higher than Canadian disposable income. Okay, think about it. So that means Americans have more money to spend, extra money to spend than Canadians, 10% more. But Canadian home prices are roughly 75% more expensive. Look it up online. Look at these statistics, okay? So clearly, Canada has a housing affordability problem. So when you look at the median level, it's like so much better in the US to make money and make it faster and finding the movement of transactions, etc. Now, why did Canada homes go up so fast, so much? I'm always interested in why. When I do a transaction, all I want to know is what. Sometimes I don't even need to ask the guy, why are you selling so cheap? If it's a good deal, I just want to make the deal. He's going to lie to me anyway. But anyway, why? Because Chinese and Indians that had a lot of money a few years ago, a decade and a half ago, when they wanted to bring money in the US government says, so you're bringing $10 million? Where did you make the money from? Is that money legal? Can you show me what you made the money in? Was it textile? Was it real estate? Was it trading? So they started harassing the Chinese and Indians and Koreans and all these Asians that were bringing millions and millions into the US. So they said, hey, we don't need you. And they went to Canada, and Canada did not have a lot of questions. They just, oh, you want to come in and bring millions? Come on down. And I think there are 5 banks in Canada that control 85% of the deposits of the country. Okay, so they had them come in. So these Chinese and these other wealthy people came in and started buying condos. Condo 500,000, they bid against each other, 600,000. Now these condos go up, then the person's flip it the next year at 750, and then 800, 900, now they're 1.7 million, the one that started a few years ago. I met, we were at the soccer game, and the lady sitting next to me was a music teacher. I said to her, listen, I'm in real estate, I'm interested to ask you a few questions. She said, I bought a house, 420,000, she bought it 10 years ago. The house right now is 1.2 million. I said, this is wonderful. She said, what do you mean? If I sell it, I don't know where to go. So, but her house is 3 times more than what she paid in 10 years. So yeah, it's interesting to invest in Canada. I like the strategies of the single tenant buildings in Canada. Nobody's doing it. We have not actually done it. I think if you set up a real estate fund in Canada, we can help you with that. We've been looking into that for another student actually 2 months ago. And Ashley will tell you, we've come a long way with this because the US SEC system is very interested in having Canadians either set up funds here and bring money from Canadian investors or vice versa. They're okay with that. So we can set you up. I see that in your question, you say setting up a structure to raise capital in Canada and the US. Yes, you can do it. And where do you start? You can start with us. And so the difference between investing in US and Canada is US is much more fluid in terms of transactions. There is a lot more money and the prices are much more reasonable than Canada. Canada needs to get a hit, I'm sorry to say, drop and adjust to reality and pick up again because it's just way out of reach to the average Canadian. I just answered all your questions in a big speech here because I see your questions.
Good job.